Hello YouTube viewers, in today's episode we will go over harvesting the 3 gourds that we grew in the last season. So we had an unusually hot February last season, so I directly sowed my gourd seeds in these raised beds. And one thing I wanted to tell you about was the trellis that I used. Now I used 3/4 inch PVC pipes to build this trellis, and the netting that you see here was interwoven along the sides of the PVC pipe. So this is a very cheap way to set up a sturdy trellis. The only suggestion that I would tell you to change would be to use 1/2 inch PVC pipes instead of 3/4 inch PVC pipes. And that's the mistake that I did. So if you're planning to build a trellis with PVC pipes, the 1/2 inch pipes may be a better option. Now as you can see here, the seeds sprout very quickly. Here in Southern California, we had a warm February last season. This year has been especially cold, much cooler than last year. But as you can see here, we've directly sowed the seeds. You could even start your seeds indoors if you wanted to. So we planted a bitter gourd seeds, and the next variety of gourd that we planted was bottle gourd. And finally, the last variety of gourds that we planted was the snake gourd, although I didn't have any space in my raised beds to plant them. Now in the month of May, as you can see, the plants are in full growth. So it takes about 2 or 3 months for the plants to develop completely and start growing. Now let's look at each gourd in detail, starting with bitter gourd. So as you can see here, the trellis has worked out very well. You can see the bitter gourd has started using it as support. And these PVC pipes are pretty high. They are about 5 to 6 feet in height. So they provide a lot of room for these gourds to grow. So as you can see here, we have started harvesting these bitter gourds. And bitter gourds are extremely healthy for you. They have a lot of health benefits. They let you fight a lot of diseases. And for those of you who haven't tried a bitter gourd or a bitter melon, some people call it bitter melon as well. It's the same thing. Bitter gourd, bitter melon. You might be a little hesitant to try it out because it's actually bitter. It's quite bitter in taste and has a very strange taste. Now, bitter gourd is also great if you're planning to do some juicing. Bitter gourd juice is also a very healthy nutritional supplement that you can feed yourself with. And as you can see here, we're harvesting a lot of bitter gourd. Bitter gourd or bitter melon is one of the easiest gourds to grow in your garden. And if you're like us, we consume a lot of bitter gourd, and not only raw but also cooked. And here you can see a video on how to prepare the bitter gourd or the bitter melon so that most of the bitterness goes away, but you can still reap the health benefits. And as you can see here, we've been getting great harvests, and I was able to get this kind of harvest from the plant. As you can see here, a lot of bitter gourds right from May up to the month of November. Now, it was surprising that the bitter gourd plant was actually growing very well till November, and I actually had to take out the plant so that I could start my cool season crops. So it's a very prolific plant. And coming to the second variety of gourd that we grew, this is bottle gourd. And bottle gourds are again very delicious, very healthy gourds. And just like bitter gourds, you can use bottle gourds for juice. They have a very good nutritional profile. The bottle gourd juice is quite healthy. And the bottle gourd also has a lot of volume. It's a pretty big vegetable. So you can do a lot of things. You can cook them, you can juice them raw, and there are a lot of possibilities. Now the only problem growing bottle gourds that I noticed is that it's a very big plant. So make sure that you have a lot of space. They love to sprawl across a large area. So this trellis actually worked out very well. As you can see here, it was able to hold the weight of the bottle gourd pretty well. But towards the end of the season, the plant got so heavy that it started bending the trellis on all sides, and finally the trellis was falling over to one side, which is when I had to trim the plant heavily. But as you can see here, a great harvest throughout the season. We were very happy with the harvest of our bottle gourds. And finally we have the snake gourd. Now the snake gourd is a very interesting vegetable, and unfortunately I didn't have a lot of space to grow my snake gourd, so it just crawled across the side and went onto the wall. And as you can see here, it's literally growing on the wall towards our bedroom window, and it could not produce a lot of gourds because this area is not very sunny. But you can still see that the gourds that were produced are pretty long in size, and it actually looks like a snake, which is why it is called the snake gourd. And as you can see here, this season we did not harvest a lot of snake gourds, but for just one plant that was growing in a very limited space, we were at least able to get a few gourds harvested. And again, this is a very unique tasting gourd, and if you haven't tried it, you should try growing it. Try to eat it cooked, see how it tastes, and if you like it, you can grow some more. And these are the kind of vegetables, these gourds are not commonly available in your local grocery stores, which is why it's a good idea to grow them at home, eat them fresh, and enjoy the taste. So there we have it, folks. That was our video on harvesting the 3 types of gourds we grew. And I'd like to know from you, what are your favorite gourds to grow? Do you have some favorites that you grow every year? Do let us know. And I'd highly recommend that you watch our series on growing gourds. I'll post a video link to that in the final part of the video. And I'll see you again soon. Happy gardening!